I'm standing in what is becoming the heart of downtown Burlingame, and this is just one of over a half dozen things that is changing the city right now. If you're thinking about buying here or you already live here, it's important to understand what is happening. I'm Raziel, and I've represented hundreds of nice people like you buying and selling throughout San Mateo County. And today, I'm gonna share with you a number of different things that are really incredible about Burlingame's bright future. So we're gonna start here in downtown Burlingame, and then I'm gonna take you to a few other spots where there's some really cool growth happening. This is our new town square. We're about 100 feet south of Burlingame Avenue. In 2014, let me back up, this was where the Burlingame post office was. I remember coming here as a kid, and that is now right there. But what's really interesting, in 2014, the United States Postal Service sold the post office. And the city of Burlingame was like, hey, this is pretty cool, this is historic. And so over a many-year period, this land was acquired, developed. There's a lot of input that the city and the community provided. And Saris Regis, which is a well-known developer, they did this really beautiful project here. So it's a 6-story office building. We have a very high-end restaurant over here going in. It's 8,000 square feet, and it's in the old post office. You can actually go inside, not yet, but you can see where the old little mail slots were. It's pretty sweet. And Bacchus Group, they're an elite restaurant operator, and it's gonna be a very high-end restaurant. They own Village Pub down in Woodside, among a few other places. So I can't wait for this to open in the next few months. This just opened though, Town Square, in the last couple months. I came out here a few weeks ago on a Sunday, just walking around, and it was a Tongan Heritage Day, kind of celebrating the community and music, and it was super fun. We can see here on the sign all the different events that are coming up throughout the summer, which is pretty sweet. Now, what's interesting about that post office, since it was historic, it was actually in a slightly different spot than where it is now. And so as part of the construction project, they lifted it up. This thing was over 1,000 tons. They put it on rollers, and then they rolled it over there, and they left it there for the whole construction project. And then when done, they rolled it back over there. So that's a pretty impressive feat of engineering, and I like how the developer was really committed to the project. I have not yet been inside because it is not open yet, but there's a really cool mural over here depicting some different elements of Burlingame High School, downtown Burlingame. I like that on California Drive, there's a really cool old mural of Burlingame inside the Burlingame Public Library. There's another really cool tapestry that's hanging in there in the reading room. So I like that we have these themes going on in Burlingame. And then there's sitting area over there, sitting area here. There's actually a foosball table here, bring your own ball. There's cornhole. There's a bathroom. Now, you might remember that debacle a few years ago where they talked about the city of San Francisco $1.7 million bathroom for one person. Luckily, we didn't have any drama like that here, and it is a really nice bathroom. And actually, there wasn't really a public one downtown. There was one in Washington Park, so I'm really glad we got this one too. And here is our little dedication of all the council members, everyone who's involved with the project. And this is the bathroom. You just gotta see it. I mean, this is beautiful. Don't you wanna come here? I mean, this bathroom's awesome. For a public bathroom, 2 Point City of Burlingame, we have a Dyson hand dryer. This is basically like being in a bathroom at SFO. It is beautiful. And stick around because in a sec, we're gonna talk about the impact of SFO tax revenues that you wouldn't think about and how that really impacts the city of Burlingame bottom line. I know if you're watching this and you haven't been here and you look at it, oh my God, this is so cool. But having grown up in Burlingame, I'm really proud of this. It's easier to do bad design than it is to do good design. So I really salute everyone from the city council to the developer. This was over a decade project in the works, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And last thing, before we pop over to our next destination in Burlingame, so I just want to show you guys the flow here. This is Lorton, and then this is the park here. You know, we have the bagel shop, we got Tara McKell Salon, Love Tamara, where I go get my hair done, although I don't have much of it left. Mykonos, really good Greek spot, Kern's Jewelers down there. And there's just, I mean, we could talk endlessly about the gem of downtown Burlingame, but let's move on. So we're shooting this now in June. By the time you see this and we edit and everything, it's gonna be later on in the summer, but doesn't matter. You can see we have a hula hoop party, Sunday Zumba, balloon art, a lot of live music. But that's kind of what this is all about. I mean, you could have 500 or 1,000 people here. This is pretty sweet. All right, so we're out here on the waterfront in Burlingame, right along the Bay Trail. Now, this is spectacular. Two things that I'm gonna talk to you about out here, which I think are really important for impacting the future of Burlingame in a positive way. The first is the TOT, the Transit Occupancy Tax, AKA the hotel tax. one thing that you might not know, which I didn't know this until I started researching it. I was actually on a stakeholder committee earlier in my career called Envision Burlingame, looking at Burlingame's long-term plan over the next 10, 15, 20 years and beyond for the growth of the city and how we can make lives really good for the people who live here and our visitors and all of our office workers. And we've had a 12% tax on the hotels for the last 17 years. So that is now going to be changing most likely at the end of this year. The city wants to raise that tax from 12% to 15%. And what's interesting is, for context, pre-COVID, the tax was brought in about $29 million a year. Over the last year, I believe it's about $22 million. And if this passes and comes into effect, this would raise about another $5.7 million a year. Now, the three biggest sources of tax revenue for the city of Burlingame are the TOT, this hotel tax, property taxes, and sales tax. That is where we have it come in now. Burlingame basically has an unfair advantage over many other towns because most people don't know is that the majority of the San Francisco airport hotels are in the city of Burlingame. So how cool is this? You don't really have people who live out here. There's no houses, no condos, apartments, all that. Everyone's west of 101. So we have this whole area that throws off a ton of money, but it's not directly where kind of people live. So it's kind of the best of everything. You get all this, you have some industrial warehouse activity over here, you have all the hotels, you have this beautiful bay trail. So if you're coming out here and you're spending the night, or you're doing business, or you're going to, you don't want to stay in San Francisco for a lot of different reasons, this is the place to stay. It's actually pretty fun though to come out here. I like coming out here. Actually, my mom loves coming out here and just kind of walking around here. You can see the airplanes take off. We're just north of the Marriott Hotel. We have the Westin here. None of these hotels are super fancy or over the top. The most recent hotel that opened was the Grand Hyatt at SFO, but unfortunately that's not in the city of Burlingame. But it is interesting, the city of San Francisco owns that hotel. And then I think that brings in about $20 million a year, don't quote me, something like that, to the city of San Francisco because the structure is owned by the airport and then Hyatt just leases it and manages it. So what will the city be doing with this extra money coming in? This is more money, more capacity for investing in the city's parks, rec, downtown, infrastructure. So we have a lot of unfunded needs. Now, the city of Burlingame is run really, really well. Lisa Goldman is our city manager and she is fantastic. And I remember during COVID, it was devastating for city budgets up and down San Mateo County, of course. City of Burlingame, I don't believe, laid off one person. That's pretty impressive when you think about the PPP and everything going on. But we do right by everyone here, which I'm really proud of. So if you're a home buyer watching this or you live here, you might say, well, why is this all important? Well, a well-run city, when you drive around Burlingame and we are a city of trees, and you see all this, well, what happens when a tree falls over? Or there's, someone from the city is over there within 20, 30 minutes. There's someone from the police department directing traffic. Things that we take for granted aren't really a standard practice necessarily in all the other towns around here. So it's not a negative on other towns, it's just a huge positive. Right? You could probably go down to LA and say, what are the differences between Beverly Hills and Santa Monica and other towns nearby? Well, they're all great areas, just some have a little bit more funding than others. Now, the other thing that's happening out here that's kind of cool, well, I don't know if I'd say cool, but interesting, is the Burlingame Shoreline Resilience Project. What's fascinating about this, obviously there's a concern here about sea level rise. Foster City, in my view, is way ahead of the curve. They built a levee around the whole city. It cost them $90 million. Burlingame is being very proactive. I mean, you can kind of see out here, we have these wetlands, very low lying with sea level rise that's going to impact this whole area. This project area kind of covers the whole bay waterfront and includes regionally significant infrastructure like the airport, the water treatment plants, 101 freeway, hotels, restaurants, and then all of these R&D campuses up and down this area. But there are some critical gaps that exist in maintaining this infrastructure. So the Bay Trail right now, just from a recreation standpoint, it's not consistent all the way from the northern part of Burlingame to the southern part of Burlingame. But once you get on the Bay Trail, kind of by Bayside Park, right off Broadway, great park, great, it's very popular for kids playing baseball. From Bayside Park, south you go all the way down to Redwood Shores. That's a 13-mile stretch where you can get on your bike, you can walk, you can run, and you're not gonna hit a stoplight or a stop sign or any cars. It's pretty awesome. So part of the vision is to kind of connect that whole part all the way through up here through Millbrae. And there's a lot of deep thinking that will happen to put that together. So obviously we're still on the Bay Trail. We just came a little bit more south. We're a little bit closer to Topgolf and Broadway. So this is a part of the Bay Trail where it's like okay. You can see the paving like it's not as fresh. Landscaping, we've got a lot of like concrete stuff out here. There's a lot of opportunity here. There's a couple stretches down here where it's not contiguous. So that's a big part of the goal. The environmental review is scheduled to be done later this year in fall 2026. Excited to see what that turns up, because I think once we get all this going, it's gonna be pretty sweet. Like over here, this is there's a lot of rental cars for the airport, a lot of businesses like that here. We have restaurants, we have Benihana up here, which is fantastic. There's some good places to eat out here. If you haven't been out here, definitely come take a look. Our next big item here is the future of El Camino. Okay, people, this has been kind of a little bit of a mess, but it's a necessary mess. This is a major infrastructure project happening on El Camino, and it's really been a little bit of a headache for people who live up and down the El Camino corridor, which is a lot of people here in Burlingame. This is a project removing 382 trees and adding 429 trees. Why this is important is Burlingame, since we're a city of trees, this is a really iconic stretch of El Camino. There's no other stretch on the peninsula that is as pretty as the stretch in Burlingame. There's all these eucalyptus trees, and I will show you in a sec this major project, but tons of these trees, hundreds of these trees are being removed. And a lot of people complain like El Camino, there's potholes, it's uneven, it's not safe. So this project has been so significant, it's gonna be going on through 2029. And what's really interesting, this whole project is a really big headache for everything that's going on, but I think it's gonna be really good in the end, right? So short-term inconvenience, but at least we're investing here in the future of the city. So this is actually a state highway. It's all managed by Caltrans. So Caltrans has wanted to take out these huge trees forever, because they've kind of been growing into the street. It's really hard for coming out of a side street, and you saw this massive tree and it was kind of growing into El Camino. That's like a huge safety hazard, obviously. But we love our trees here, so this was kind of the compromise, but it was a necessary thing that needed to happen. So I think once these trees kind of grow a little bit taller, we'll get our big, beautiful canopy back and we'll be back in action, but it is a little bit annoying while it's happening, but gonna be good in the end. So we're gonna have some better infrastructure, better streetscape, and it's just gonna be a lot better. It's gonna take some years for these trees to go back, but hopefully they'll plant some big ones and we don't have to wait for these little ones to grow. So if you're thinking about buying a home anywhere in Burlingame or San Mateo County, all my contact info is in the description below. I love chatting with nice people like you. Okay, so the next part of our video, we're gonna talk about the schools. Now we're in front of Burlingame High School. Burlingame High School is actually part of the San Mateo Union High School District, but it's a pretty backdrop, so what the heck. But we are gonna talk about the Burlingame School District, which includes 6 public elementary schools and 1 public middle school, BIS. Now the trustees of the Burlingame School District recently voted to approve putting a $100 million bond on the ballot this coming November 2026. And that's gonna pay to upgrade older infrastructure. So repiping, building upgrades, Wi-Fi, etc. Now these things don't sound that exciting. You're like, geez, $100 million, that's crazy. Well, it is crazy, but that's what it costs to maintain. And that is why we have such a really strong school district. We have amazing teachers, we have amazing staff, we have beautiful facilities, and these things are just expensive. The cost of this would be $25 per $100,000 of assessed value. So if you own a $3 million home, this is gonna be under $1,000 a year. So we do have other parcel taxes. And look, it is not cheap to live here, but if you care about your property values, then it is important to support these things when they come on the ballot. Now, if you care about your property values, it's always important to check these things. Does it make sense? But for supporting the schools at Burlingame, that's a really important reason why many people choose to move here, because there's good schools everywhere, but in Burlingame, there is a little bit something special here. Now, we also have BCE, which is the Burlingame Community for Education Foundation, which raises about $3 million a year, but that goes towards paying teacher salaries through a special grant to the school district. And then in turn, we're able to support about 20 additional teachers to pay for important things like art, music, PE. It's kind of crazy with Burlingame with their property taxes that the state doesn't give us funding for those things, but alas, that is the situation that we're in. And that is why we have such a robust Community Education Foundation. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more, go check out the BCE website. It's fantastic. All right, our second to last topic is the parks. And then our last one, you've been super patient, we're gonna talk about real estate. We're right now in the baseball field at Burlingame High School in Washington Park over here. It might be kind of hard to see, but that is the Burlingame Community Center. It's a $52 million structure that just opened in the last couple of years. It is beautiful, it is world class. We actually live right nearby here, and it is such a huge blessing. But what's cool about this is the Burlingame Parks Department, they're continually trying to get better. So we get emails, since we have a dog, like, hey, just want to let everyone know that this field has opened. We just want to let you guys know this field is closed. We have summer hours for off leash. So there's a lot of good things that are happening, always seeking community input. And I think with other towns, they might not be asking those questions of the residents, right? So when I tell clients I'm working with, or prospective clients, or just people who live here, like, hey, this is pretty cool. Did you get on that list from that they're sending out from the Parks and Rec about the dog parks? Like, that there's staff there who actually cares and is gonna listen to you. I remember when I lived in San Francisco in my 20s, it was much different. Obviously, we have Mayor Lurie now. San Francisco's turning around, bright future, all that good stuff, but it's still a major city. In a place like Burlingame, you get that small town personal touch. I recently went to a Rotary Club meeting in Burlingame, which was actually at the rec center, and the new police chief spoke, and it was fantastic. Like, the new police chief came. There's a joint meeting coming up between Burlingame Rotary Club and Burlingame Lions Club just over here. So we have that really small town feel that I think is pretty cool, and everyone's trying to move the ball forward and make the city as best as possible. And I think that's what kind of makes Burlingame special. People move here because they want the community. They love the high tree density. They love the top schools. They love the walkability if you're in a flat area, or if you're in the hills like Mills Estates or Burlingame Hills. They like the privacy and the proximity to 280. They like the downtowns. They like Broadway, the restaurants, airport access. There's so much to love about living here that you can go check out some of my other videos to hear me expound on the virtues of Burlingame. But anyways, for the purpose of this video, Parks and Rec is awesome. So when we kind of think about the future of Burlingame, it's natural that we should end with a minute or two about Burlingame real estate. Now, I cannot predict the future, of course. I'm not that smart, but what I can say is, having done this for 21 years in Burlingame and having grown up here, I do think we have some special factors that are happening. And a majority of my business is not in Burlingame, even though I do a lot right here. And I think what's interesting is, even though we have average and median prices over $3 million now, it's always been expensive, and it's going to continue to get more expensive. I think we're going to see more liquidity in the market later this year. We have some major IPOs that are going to be happening with Anthropic, OpenAI, SpaceX, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in a market like Burlingame, we average 10 to 15 homes sell per month. So in order for the market to remain stable and flat, we need to have 10 to 15 families, couples, individuals, multi-generational families, only about 10 to 15 a month wanting to buy a home and be willing to pay that asking price. If the market were to drop, we would need to have less than that, right? Now, if the market were to appreciate, if you believe that there are more than 10 or 15 different profiles of buyers who are interested in buying a home at any given moment, then prices will continue to increase. And that is what we are seeing. So every month, there are more new buyers entering the market because they have more liquidity. They're ready to buy a bigger home from the home they have. They want to downsize. And that is kind of what I'm seeing on the ground in my personal experience. So I think we're gonna see prices continue to rise. They rose actually from the end of, from Q4 2025, just to the end of Q1 2026. I know we're well beyond that now, but single family home prices rose 8% in the county. In Burlingame, we're seeing similar numbers too. So it's pretty fascinating. So kind of what we talked about today, the Bay Trail, downtown with this new town square, our schools, parks, El Camino updates. The city is investing in itself. And I think that is really what I'm trying to convey here today, and hopefully share with you, and you get a little idea. The city is continually to invest in its people, in its infrastructure, in its beauty. And what more could you want in a place where you might want to buy a home? So people ask me, well, what do you think about Burlingame? I'm like, I'm a little biased, of course, since I live here now and I grew up here. But a lot of my friends who I grew up with, it's not all of them can come back and live here, because unfortunately it is very expensive. But for those who have come back, that went off to college or went off on their own paths, if people have the ability to move back here, they do move back here. And so it's obviously crazy expensive, but for those of you watching this, if it is something that within your realm of possibility, you absolutely will not regret it. And that is why so few people call me to say, I want to sell my home and someday I want to move to the Central Valley. With all respect to the Central Valley, like, people buy here and usually they don't move. That's kind of how it works. So if you're interested to learn a little bit more about Burlingame, check out this playlist, which has tons of my videos. If you're thinking about making a move here, I can support you in any way. All my contact info is in the description below. See you on my next video on Monday at 5 p.m.